This presentation provides background information on the work of the MPS Department of Nutrition Services. Hopefully, it will provide committee members with critical information as we work to improve the quality of the MPS school meal program. At its December 18, 2025 meeting, the Milwaukee Board of School Directors extended the term for Resolution 2223-013, establishing the Food Justice Task Force for an additional 3 years, and directed the MPS administration to work with the Food Justice Task Force to improve the school meal programs in MPS schools. The first meeting is scheduled for January 14, 2026. Throughout this presentation, the Food Advisory Committee and the Food Justice Task Force will be referenced as the committee. The name and organizing structure of this combined group will be discussed at the January 14, 2026 meeting. The committee was charged by the Superintendent Casilius to improve the overall school meal experience throughout the Milwaukee Public Schools. The committee will support, guide, and drive the enhancement of the MPS school nutrition program. This undertaking is substantial and requires a collective effort to succeed. Superintendent Casilius has focused the MPS strategic plan on 3 pillars: academics, literacy, safe and welcoming schools, and operational efficiency, all within an equity framework. An effective and robust school meal program can contribute to each pillar's success. For an advisory group to be truly effective, it must operate from a foundation of shared knowledge and understanding. This includes familiarity with the USDA meal programs and an appreciation for the complexities of the state's largest food service operation. The specific and stringent regulations governing the program, the cost constraints around funding, staffing, and infrastructure concerns all guide and influence how meals are prepared and served. Why are you here? We are here to support, guide, and drive the enhancement of nutrition services. This undertaking is substantial and requires a collective effort to succeed. We will advise nutrition services in developing a 3 to 5 year strategic plan that honors our community, prioritizes food quality and USDA compliance, and brings students to school to learn. The goal of the committee is to make school food a reason kids come to school. If students like the food, they will come to school. And if they attend school, we will educate them. The objectives of the committee are to understand the USDA Child Nutrition Program, the regulations that govern the meal programs, the school meal programs. To understand how the MPS food service operations, its revenues, expenses, and conditions it operates under. It's to include more locally grown organic food sources to decrease the amount of processed food. It's to incorporate culturally familiar foods to ensure that meals served align with a diverse student population. It's to increase participation in the school lunch and breakfast programs, and finally, to improve the marketing and communications of nutrition services. The next slide provides a brief overview of MPS student demographics during the 24-25 school year. Throughout the presentation, 2024 to 2025 data will be used. Enrollment is 68,435 students, with 56 African American, 26 Hispanic, 11% white, and 7% Asian. Daily participation in the school lunch program averages 62%, or on average 42,430 lunches, and 41%, or an average of 28,743 school breakfasts. This slide describes meal program MPS offers students. The largest are the school lunch and breakfast programs. All students have access to breakfast and lunch, and many take advantage of snacks and dinner if they are in after-school programs. In collaboration with Milwaukee Recreation and the Hunger Task Force, sites are open throughout the district to provide meals during the summer when schools are not in session. MPS is designated a community eligibility program, which means because of the poverty level of the district, all students receive free meals, regardless of the student's own economic status. The chart details the participation of the program during the 24-25 school year. MPS serves over 7.5 million lunches and over 5.1 million breakfasts each year. While participation has increased over the past years, 62% partition rate for lunch It means a third of the students are not eating the meals provided. One question to ask is, why not? The next couple of slides will focus on nutrition services budget and finances. Nutrition services is funded exclusively by reimbursements provided by the USDA, state aids, and various grants. Paid meals are a small funding source. Fund 50 is the designation that MPS gives to this particular budget. No district operations funds, the main district budget fund, are designated to support the school meal program. The program is entirely self-funded. Nutrition services should maintain a fund balance of 5 to 8% to cover extraordinary expenses or the decline in participation in best revenues. The USDA recommends the district maintain a 5 to 8% fund balance, although MPS currently only has a 2% balance. It is important that the fund balance increase, as many capital costs such as equipment are funded with the fund balance. The impact of student participation cannot be understated. Every additional student eating lunch or breakfast goes to the bottom line. Revenues grow as participation increases, which only marginal costs are incurred. For example, a 10-point increase in the participation in lunch to 72% will increase revenues by $5.5 million. However, revenues can be claimed only if the meal is served and counted. In the 2025 school year, nutrition services lost over $1 million in reimbursements due to failing to count meals correctly. Nutrition services undergoes both state and federal audits annually. The next slide provides an overall picture of the budget. For the 2025-26 school year, nutrition services is projecting $62,991,754 in revenues and $62,691,754 in expenses. Nutrition services will employ 487 full-time equivalent employees, or FTEs. This is not the total number of staff, as staff work various time shifts from 3.5 hours a day to 8 hours per day. MPS receives $4.54 for every lunch it serves and accurately counts. For breakfast, MPS receives $2.92, for a snack, $1.21, and for dinner, $4.73. These rates are set by the USDA. As a community eligibility program district, MPS is prohibited from charging students for any meals. The next chart details the various costs to prepare a lunch and compares MPS costs to that of the national average. MPS's food and labor costs exceed the national average, while its direct and indirect costs are below the national average. On average, it costs MPS 5 cents more to prepare lunch than the national average. These costs place a strain on the budget. Other aids and grants are used to meet expenses. Over the past few years, the fund balance was used to balance the budget. This is the main reason for the fund balance at 2%. The next slide highlights some of the major challenges facing ENS. One of the main challenges is staffing. With 50 to 60 positions open, either through unfilled positions or absenteeism, this places a strain on operations and severely impacts menus and production. The lack of staff limits the number of production kitchens in the district, resulting in a number of schools with prepackaged meals. Production kitchens do offer better quality meals, but are more labor intensive. Last year, MPS had 78 production kitchens, and this year we have a goal of 108 production kitchens. Similar to its building, some kitchen equipment is old. ESSER funds were used to purchase kitchen equipment, but a $20 million deferred maintenance needs remain. Typically, about $1 million on equipment is budgeted each year. How food is sourced is also strictly regulated and prescribed. USDA guidelines for meal component, size, and offerings are set. Ingredients must meet the cost of the meal price points, and vendors must be able to consistently supply the product. As menus require 1 to 2 months lead time, shortages cannot occur. Nutrition services is actively seeking opportunities to purchase organic food from locally sourced vendors, such as the Wisconsin Food Hub Cooperative. Taste, color, and texture must also appeal to students. One challenge is to introduce students to healthy food options. Nutrition services is actively pursuing opportunities to support local farmers and purchase access to locally grown, raised, and unprocessed foods. In addition to the Wisconsin Food Hub Cooperative, Nutrition Services is engaged with Fork Farms on the viability of hydroponic sourcing. Other sourcing initiatives includes effort to limit non-domestic purchases and to watch for ingredients that are not clearly labeled, especially in ultra-processed foods. Clearly, limiting ultra-processed food is very important in menu planning. This slide details what the USDA requires per meal with meal pattern components and the serving size. Again, this is strictly regulated, and failure to comply will mean a disallowance of claims and a loss of revenue. Calories, fat, and sodium intake are also prescribed. Nutrition Services is looking to the committee to identify new and exciting recipes that will attract students to each lunch and breakfast. This slide provides a snapshot of the weekly menu for students. 4 meal choices are provided with vegetable and food options. Menus are found on the district's webpage. Another variable Nutrition Services must contend with are cafeteria schedules, when meals are served and the time students have to eat. Schools with large student populations have multiple breakfast and lunch schedules with service for lunch beginning as early as 10:30 a.m. and as late as 1:30 p.m. Schools with multiple lunch periods may only provide 35 minutes to eat lunch. Slow lunch lines can result in students skipping meals. More grab-and-go options for high school students are being piloted. With many schools servicing breakfast in the classroom, proper meal accounting remains a concern. Last year, again, MPS lost over $1 million in revenues due to improper counting of breakfast. This overview was intended to provide an overview of the MPS meal program. As we delve further into the operation, the committee will explore ideas and options in 4 major areas: food sourcing, menu planning, infrastructure, and marketing and communication. It is with great hope and expectation the committee will provide ideas, guidance, and support MPS in moving forward to make school food a reason kids come to school.